What's up, everybody? This is All Things Beer 510, and tonight doing something a little different. Well, not a little different. I've done a couple countdowns on the channel before. This one is probably gonna get a lot of different responses, which is good. I haven't wrote this down, but I do put a lot of thought into these things. This is my top 10 list for most lyrical rappers, right? Lyrical rappers. Let's explain what lyrical is. It's not what most people are used to today, but to be honest with you, there's a lot of dope lyrical rappers, but it's, people think about late 80s, 90s as the pinnacle for MCing, and I do as well. As this is not the best rappers of all time, which would be a little different than lyrical, because there's a lot of MCs, for instance, like Tupac, who's in my top 3 as greatest MCs of all time, but he's not the most lyrical. But I still think his body of work, and was a really good rapper who had bars. I know a lot of people underplay him, but he's not, Big Pun, right? He's not gonna have me rewinding his verse over and over again and reciting it, right? So just give an example, right? So there's like, and it's not just battle rhymes, it's just and it's not just saying big words, it's storytelling. It's just, if you had a circle of friends, who would you want to hear, right, in this circle? Which rappers would you, if you were a rapper, who would you be scared of in this circle, right? So that's what this top 10 is. I do factor in the body of work, the albums, mixtapes, free radio freestyles, mixtapes, all of that. I try to factor in when I'm thinking about top 10 most lyrical rappers, and this is not in no order, because I don't have time to be doing all that. But at the same time, it's pretty spot on. It's people who inspire me, just with writing and delivering messages. So without further ado, this is my top 10 most lyrical rappers of all time. So we're just gonna start. I'm gonna count them down so I can remember where I'm at. And like I said, this is in no order, so please do not kill me, guys. Number 10. First MC that comes to my mind is, we'll get him out the way, is Eminem. Eminem, one of the most lyrical rappers, nicest rappers to ever grab a microphone. He checks all the boxes. He checks the storytelling boxes. He checks the battle rap boxes. He checks, the cypher. He checks the freestyles. He's done radio freestyles. He's paid his dues on the underground circuit. Sold millions of records. I mean, he is the rapper's rapper, right? The rapper's rapper, MC. And some people always talk about, especially they remember him like how he's doing music now. I'm talking about 97, 98, 99, 2000, 2001 M. When he was doing the Slim Shady LP, the Marshall Mathers LP, the Eminem Show, and then right before the Slim Shady LP, he had like the joints with Royce the 5'9". He was on Sway and Tech Wake Up Show a lot. So I mean, the D12 Underground verses, the Rap Olympics, like that M. I don't care what you say, has to be put in top 10. And also when I'm doing my list, you're going to find that I'm going to talk about eras a lot. I'm going to talk about the MCs like prime time, where they were probably the illest. And maybe if they still are the illest, it maybe has been going on forever. But Eminem is definitely in my top 10. Number 9. And I'm not editing this. This is straightforward. Number 9, another MC from Detroit, Royce the 5'9". He's a more recent pick for me. In the last he's always been a favorite of mine since Boom, or actually since scary movies with Eminem, but also Boom with Primo on the beat. Royce has always been one of the illest MCs to me, but in the last like 4 to 5 years, I think he's surpassed M, like as far as just bars and quality of music and quality of albums. To me, he keeps getting better. I mean, he released the Prime albums, which I think are some of the most lyrical albums that are put out from any rapper in the last few years. I think he has some radio joints, freestyles with Flex that he slaughtered. He was in Slaughterhouse, and was slaughtering that. No pun intended. And his albums, these last 2-3 albums, he's been even more personal, and doing different things on songs and adding more depth to his MCing. I mean, I think Royce is just a full package as well, as far as just bar for bar. You push the rewind button. For me, I analyze like everything he says, and I think he's just one of the illest ever. I really do. I think Detroit, Elzai, who's not in my top 10, but is one of the illest MCs. I think Detroit has a lot of dope lyrical rappers with bars that give depth to their to the lyricism and give depth to what they're saying, and just all around dope MC. So Royce, number 9. Number 8, one of my favorite rappers ever. He's in my top 10, but also lyrical. Is Black Thought. I know a lot of people a couple years ago just heard of Black Thought when he was on Flex, but Black Thought has been one of the most slept on MCs ever. I mean, the Roots are one of the dopest groups ever, and their longevity is remarkable. What they've done and transcended music, and being on Jimmy Kimmel, and just the things they have done, and have the Roots Picnic, and just the band itself, Questlove, Black Thought, is just monumental. But when you talk about Black Thought, from the time he came in the game to now, he's gotten better. He's an MC who was really dope. I mean, Big Pun reached out to him, wanting him to be on Capital Punishment. They went back and forth. I mean, Black Thought held his own with Pun, and Thought has gotten better. Thought can do very different rhyme styles, different rhyme patterns. He has done songs where he has taken Kane style, G Rap style. He has done it mellow. I've seen Thought live twice, and I think he's remarkable. He's a wordsmith. He was in a cipher, I think, with Def and Eminem, and I think he killed it. I think he killed M in the cipher, which is, I mean, who could say that, right? And I think he just is an MC's MC. That's what you're gonna hear me say. I mean, an MC's MC, rewind button MC. He's just remarkable, and he's one of the MCs I listen to daily. When I need some motivation. At work I speak a lot to people and do a lot of meetings where I'm speaking to groups of people, and I'm always trying to come up with new words and new styles, and I actually listen to rappers to help me with my meeting style. And Thought is just one of the nicest MCs ever to do it, and he's one of the most lyrical rappers ever to do it. And so that's number 8. Number 7, we're gonna take it back to the 80s before we go back to the 90s, right? So G Rap, Kool G Rap. If you don't know, please look him up. G Rap is very influential for Nas, very influential for Big Pun. He's very influential, probably even sometimes when I hear Kendrick, sometimes I think certain things he might have got from other people, but it comes back to G Rap. G Rap, multi-syllable rhyming, just very East Coast gangster, and just one of the nicest MCs ever. He has the lisp like me. And just, from the time he came in the game with the Juice Crew to now, like, G Rap is a rapper. Like, he is an MC. And in the 80s, when you think about the MCs in the 80s at the time, Slick Rick, KRS-One, Big Daddy Kane, Rakim, LL Cool J, EPMD, there were, Ice Cube in NWA. Ice Cube was very ill. Like, there were so many, Kool Keith, Ultramagnetic. There were so many dope MCs if you really think about, like, 86 to 89, right? So many dope MCs. And G Rap, to me, you hear G Rap with Big Daddy Kane's name, you hear him with Rakim's name, as one of the illest to do it from that era. And if you could be in the top 3 in that era from a lot of different people, I think you deserve to be in the top 10 ever. So salute to G Rap. He's remarkable. And listen to Pun and listen to G Rap and find out where, and Eminem too. Like, listen to Eminem, a lot of his rhymes, and listen to G Rap, and you'll see where Eminem got a lot of his style from. That's 7. 6, the God, Rakim. I think Rakim is where all this started from. And that's not to say there weren't dope rappers from before Rakim, but definitely If you take Rakim and everybody after, a lot of MCs got their style from Rakim. A lot of MCs are influenced by Rakim. Rakim was way ahead of his time, and just ill, and the mystique, just other stuff besides the lyricism adds the complex type of stuff to him. But when it just talks about just what he does on songs like I Ain't No Joke, the whole Paid in Full album, Microphone Fiend, the Juice joint, Know the Ledge, just on and on and on and on, and not giving you any room to breathe, not giving you any room to really take in what he's saying. You have to play it over and over again, and he's just, complex. He didn't curse. He didn't need to curse a lot, and he was deep, and he had so much depth, and he had the voice, and just Rakim is just one of the illest. If you want to talk about Nas, if you want to talk about Pun, if you want to talk about certain things maybe Jay has done, even though he's more Kane, people say, but all these MCs, especially East Coast MCs, have taken something from Rakim, like all of them. Before Rakim, you had Run DMC. I think Kane was out, in the Juice Crew, but in the KRS-One, who's very dope, it would be probably my top 10, like just all around MC. But you had dope rappers, but Rakim was the first one to do just the bar you to death, right? And he has to be in the top 10 because he is the godfather of just lyricism. You look up lyricism, Rakim should be the picture that you see. And now that's 6, right? So now we going to do 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So number 5, Nasty Nas. Nas is my favorite rapper ever. As you see the Illmatic album right there. He is my favorite album. He's my favorite MC ever. Illmatic is my favorite album ever. Next to 36 Chambers, it goes back day to day. And I think Nas is he's Rakim 2.0. He took it to another level. He was smooth. And people, you really hold Illmatic against him. Like, Illmatic is not just one of the best hip hop albums ever, one of the best albums ever. And for somebody who listens to different music, whether it's jazz or rock, or blues, different albums, I can appreciate different genres of music. Nas' first album is bar none in the realm of that conversation. But when you talk about It Was Written, you talk about Godson, you talk about Stillmatic, and even not this last album with Kanye, and I'm drawing a blank, but he did an album before where he kind of brought it back, like 2012, 2013, and he is one of the nicest MCs you'll ever hear. Just if you listen to Illmatic, or scratch Illmatic, you take It Was Written, because some people say It Was Written was better, and you listen to I Gave You Power, and you listen to, Black Girl Lost, and you listen to The Message, and you Suspect, you listen to those songs, you listen to Stillmatic, you listen to Rewind, you listen to Ether, you listen to the high caliber of MC he is, you listen to his features that he did on Mobb Deep albums, you listen to his features he's done on Raekwon's Only Built for Cuban Links album, and you just get a master MC, and not really ahead of his time, because I think during the early 90s you had a lot of MCs who were very nice, but he is in a different place, just the way he puts his words together. He will always be my favorite MC ever. That's not going to change. And so that's number 5. Remember, this is not in order. Number 4, one of the, he's still slept on, but man, I don't know, maybe he's not. Big Pun. Big Pun is passed away just way before his time, and he is one of the, he took what G Rap did, and he like took it over here. I mean, Big Pun, I'm mesmerized by his rhymes. I'm mesmerized by his style. I'm mesmerized by his breath control. I'm mesmerized just by his depth of lyricism. He wasn't just rambling on. He was really saying stuff. He was gangster with it. He's from the Bronx. He was nothing to play with, and just in a circle. There's only a few MCs, that if they were in a circle, I'd put my money on, and he would be one of them. And then it's probably only 3 MCs I can ever think where if you put him in a circle, he's shocking the room. Everybody's leaving the room, and he he did that. There's a video on YouTube with Cannabis, and Mike Geronimo, Mos Def, and X, just classic, and they rhymed at the table, and Pun killed it. Cannabis, I think, did second round KO, which was, of course, a legendary diss track, but he killed it. He did Dream Shatterer, and he did like an extra verse with Dream Shatterer that's not on the song, but Pun, just rest in peace, man. Just one of the illest MCs ever, and just lyricists, one of the illest lyricists ever. Number 3, when we talk about MCs taken way before they are supposed to, it's Big L. Big L, rest in peace. Big L, Big Pun, they just celebrated like death anniversaries, which is, sad. But Big L is just punchline phenomenon, right? And just shock value phenomenon. Go listen to the first album. Go listen to All Black. Go listen to Devil's Son. Ebonics from the second album that was put together. But just go listen to his freestyles. Like, go download some mixtapes where he's like just butchering it, right? And I think Big L, man, he even more than Big Pun, he didn't get to show the world like what he really was. Listen to the 7-minute freestyle. Or 7, I think it's 7-minute freestyle with Jay. And this is Jay when Jay was, he's always been nice to me, but Jay, like, kind of in his, like, right before Reasonable Doubt, I think, or around that time. And L killed Jay. L bodied Jay. I don't care what nobody say. L bodied it. And he is for sure just the epitome of having battle raps and songs, but not being too much, right? Battle rap culture is huge now. It's not at its peak like it was a few years ago, but it's still huge. And Big L was doing that on songs, just slaying it. And if you want to be an MC and you want to have that type of style, that Lloyd Banks, Cassidy type style, where it's like a lot of Fabulous, Jada, a lot of punch. Listen to Big L and study L. He's absolutely incredible. So that leaves 2 spots left. Where am I gonna go with these 2 spots? So number 2, he's also in my top 10 MCs ever. But Biggie, I was going back and forth between if I should put Biggie in. You have Andre 3000. You have a lot of MCs, but I think Biggie. Go listen to Kick in the Door. Go listen to 10 Crack Commandments. Go the whole Life After Death album. Ready to Die was phenomenal. It was one of my first albums I ever listened to. It was Ready to Die, Enter the 36 Chambers, and Sibo, Tales from the Crypt, I believe. Those are like the 3 tapes I had like when I was like 10 years old. But when you take Life After Death, and then you also take like P. Diddy's first album, right? Puff Daddy and the Family, and you listen to Victory. Listen to the bars, man. Just listen to the wordplay. Listen to the flow. Listen to what he's saying. He's not super in depth, like in deep like Nas, but what he's saying is probably some of the best well put together words of any MC ever, and did it very with no effort at all. To be honest, he sounds like he put no effort in, and that's not a bad thing. His flow was that perfect. His wordplay was that perfect. His lyrics were bar to none. And I think, just the second album is a masterpiece also. It is Illmatic-like to me. He does have some songs on there that I'm not the biggest fan of. But even if you think about what he did with Bone, and then he had Sky's the Limit, just very well rounded. He can do Juicy, and he can do Warning. There's not too many MCs. I can't even think of any who could do that broad of spectrum when it comes to lyricism. And I don't know if we'll ever see that again. And yeah, Big, number 2, number 1, and God, I'm going back and forth. I feel like I'm leaving people off. Ghostface is my favorite member in the Wu. A lot of people would argue GZA, right? Like when it comes to lyricism, but I think Ghost has more levels to him than GZA. I think GZA Liquid Swords is still one of the greatest albums ever, but I think GZA is just, he's great, but he's here. There's different levels to Ghost. I mean, if you talk about All I Got Is You, which is one of the most heart-touching songs, if you from the struggle, you that touches you in a different type of place. To Daytona 500, to his Triumph verse, which people talk about Dex verse, but Ghost's verse is ill. Just what he did on Raekwon's album, just what he's to be slipped a little bit. His voice has changed a little bit in the last couple of years, but I mean, Supreme Clientele, Iron Man, Supreme Clientele, Only Built, which I say is just him as much as Raekwon. You got 3 classics right there. You talk about Run. You talk about other albums he's done. Bulletproof Wallets, which is slept on, got bootlegged heavy. Just an amazing Fiscal, which is crazy. That's like almost classic album. I think Ghost is just, and it's very fitting that he is my number 1, but he's not really my number 1. But Wu-Tang is my number 1 group of all time for sure. And Ghost wraps it up. And Ghost is just bar none one of the illest MCs ever. Just his stories, his slang, just how he says stuff. Just, you've never heard MC as colorful. Probably him and E40. Like E40's on the West, Ghost is on the East. Like just how colorful their rhymes are, and you can close your eyes and really visualize what he's saying and not know what he's saying at the same time. and you have to get a Wu-Tang manual to really understand what he's talking about. But I think Ghost is in my top 10. I mean, I can go so many ways. I mean, I'm forgetting Andre 3000, Scarface, Lupe, just, Corrupt, Exhibit, Razcast. I mean, not to, forget my West Coast dudes, but, that's my top 10. Sometimes it changes. Sometimes people creep in. But please, guys, enjoy this video. I love talking beer with people, but I love talking hip hop with people and debating and maybe forgetting stuff. And like, oh, yeah, I forgot. Damn. And please, so leave a comment. Tell me your top 10 lyrical rappers ever, and then I'll be doing more videos about top 10 beats ever, top 10 just barbershop talk, right? And so guys, leave comments and please holla at me. Until next time, thank you, peace and love. 100.